What's going on, guys? Blake Clark here with Limitless Real Estate and team lead of the Clark team. And I wanted to make a quick video today for those of you buyers out there trying to win a home in our competitive market. If you've been watching some of my previous videos, you guys have probably picked up by now it is super competitive out there. If you've been writing offers, you're figuring out it's super competitive out there. The reason, as I've mentioned before in some of my previous posts and videos, is that we are in a severe drought of active homes on the market and we have a ton of buyers out there. So what does that mean? Supply is low and demand is high. So as a buyer in our current market, it's pretty challenging for you. It's definitely a seller's market right now. So what I wanted to do is make a quick video for you guys today to kind of talk about some of the strategies that you can use as a buyer in our current market to help you get offers accepted a little easier if possible. So first thing I'd recommend doing is if you currently have a VA or an FHA loan, I would possibly look into the option of having that converted over to a conventional loan if possible. Obviously, everybody loves the FHA loans for the low down payment option for that, and then also the VA loans for the no money down. You know, you get the veteran benefits of that. However, in a competitive seller's market, they're not always looked at as the most favorable loans to take from a seller's standpoint. Why is that? Well, they're both federally backed loans through the government. They're both government funded backed programs. So what does that mean? A couple different things from a seller's perspective. Number one, when an appraisal happens on an FHA or a VA loan, typically those appraisals are going to stick on the home. So from a seller's perspective, in the event that the home doesn't appraise, that appraisal is now stuck on that home for a couple months. And if another FHA or VA buyer tends to come along and try to write an offer on that house in case the first deal falls apart, it's by default going to go right back to whatever the home appraised for in the lower amount in most cases. Obviously, from a seller's perspective, this may not seem as favorable. The second part of that is while they are great programs for buyers, again, the downside of that from a seller is they have what's called an amendatory clause that is a rider on both of these loans. So from a selling perspective, let's say that a potential buyer comes in and writes in the contract that they are going to be able to waive an appraisal or they're going to pay X amount of dollars over the appraisal that was written in the contract. These particular amendatory clauses state that the buyer is not held accountable to what the seller and buyer have agreed upon in the Arizona purchase contract. Now, a federal amendatory clause rider that comes along with an FHA and a VA loan is always going to trump the state rider, the state purchase contract, I should say. So that is why in some terms those two loans aren't favorable, where a conventional loan in most cases is going to be the safest bet for most sellers. So in a competitive market like this, where you have multiple offers being submitted on a home, typically, we're going to look at that, especially as a listing agent. You know, is this an FHA offer? Is this a conventional offer? Is this cash? Is it a VA? And we weigh the pros and cons, and 9 times out of 10, in most cases, a conventional loan is going to come across as a more favorable, stronger. Again, not always the case, but I would consider that as a backup option, or see if you have the option to flip over to a conventional just in case. Another thing you guys can consider doing in a current market is, like I said, with the inventory being as tight as it is right now, it's hard to find houses. You have to get creative. Obviously, us as a team, what we do is we try to get creative and find properties off market for our clients before they've hit the market. Once these things have hit the market, it goes crazy. You got tons of competition. The houses are getting bid up in most cases, and it's tough. It's tough for buyers to get some things accepted sometimes. So what would be of benefit to you, maybe go try to find an agent or go find a team that you work with that is a heavy listing team that has the potential to bring you off-market properties before they go live. Maybe they have some insider information on some pocket listings that they could probably push your way. Like I said, that would be one advantage you can have as a potential buyer, is to go to agents that potentially have off-market properties, know of off-market properties, heavy listing agents that know of properties coming soon that might be able to get you early access. This is where the benefit of an experienced listing agent is going to work in your favor as a potential buyer. The second thing I would do in this current market is shop below your budget. And I could, like I said, this was very different 2-3 years ago. You can shop right up to your max. Sometimes you can go a little over and negotiate the price down. But in our current market right now, we've seen a few buyers that haven't quite been able to grasp this, that it is definitely a seller's market. And they want to go in right at ask and offer the price of the asking without having the ability to go over that. And you guys got to be realistic with it in our current market. In most cases, that is not a good strategy to go into, where if you actually go down and shop below your budget, in the event you find that house that you absolutely love and you want to get an offer accepted on that one, you have the ability to potentially go higher in some cases without starting out right at your max. Like I said, it's not a good strategy to go in. It's kind of a no-brainer right now in our current market. If you think you're going to go in and offer below asking, the odds of getting an offer accepted in that are slim to none. Can it happen? Absolutely. Are there homes that even in this market are overpriced? Absolutely, but that is very, very slim. And again, as a good rule of thumb or a good strategy for a buyer in this current seller's market, shopping below your budget and leaving yourself some cushion to come up if needed for that perfect home would be the best strategy for you in our current environment. And the final thing that I have, that I try to talk to a lot of my clients about in this current market is, does it make sense? Does it make sense to sell your current house? Does it make sense to buy? I see this a lot with a lot of sellers that come to me that want to sell their house because they are seeing a ton of equity build up in it. But please understand that if you're going to sell your house for a pretty fair amount and you're going to go try to purchase a very similar house, area, like, shape, form, expect you're going to pay a very similarly high price for that, potentially over listing price for that. So it's almost an even exchange. So you got to really sit down and weigh the pros and cons. In most cases, when would it make sense? Well, if you need to get a house that's bigger, if you want to go to a different area, if you want something that has a larger lot size, maybe you want something that has a pool that you don't have a pool. Maybe you have a large house and you've had kids that have moved out and you want to downsize. Those kind of things in a market like this would make sense for you in most cases. But again, if you're trying to trade a home like for like, it's probably not something I'd recommend in this market. As like I said, yes, you are going to get killer money for your house, but if you're trying to pretty much buy something very similar in the same area, like for like, just expect you're probably going to pay a high price for that house as well. So again, not saying it's right or wrong, just something to consider, and does it make sense for your family if you go down that route. So again, just a quick recap for some of you guys. You're going to want to go in, and if you have a VA or FHA loan, maybe see and talk to your lender about the potential of having a conventional loan option as well in your pocket, just in case you need it. Gives you one extra form of pre-approval aside from either one of those, in case, like I said, maybe the listing agent already has a bunch of offers on that property, and a conventional loan in that case may be more favorable to them. The second thing is go out and work with some experienced agents right now. In a market like this, I can't tell you guys how often experience plays a role. It's super tough out there. You got to have an agent that has a ton of resources. You got to have an agent that has access to properties that haven't hit the market, has a big network of sellers that they've worked with in the past that may potentially sell their house to the right buyer. Again, a network in this particular market makes all the difference. So again, going to finding these agents, maybe potentially finding a team that is a listing heavy team that has access to properties that are not on the market just yet or are coming soon, may be a good strategy for you as a potential buyer to see if they have something that you're looking for before it's actively on the market. And again, the final piece of advice I have for you guys as a recap, shop below your budget. Give yourselves that cushion when you're out shopping for a home. In case you find that perfect home and it starts to get bid up, you want to leave yourself a little bit of a cushion to work yourself up in there. If you're shopping right at your max purchase price, it's probably not going to happen. Like we talked about, it's a competitive market right now. A buying strategy of going in and offering low on houses that in most cases have offers $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 over ask. You're almost guaranteed to lose every time in our current market going in and trying to lowball properties. Does it happen every once in a while? Yes, very slim in our current market. So hopefully this helps some of you buyers out there. I know it's tough, I know it's challenging, but hopefully if you take some of this advice, it'll help you guys out. It's been helping out a ton of our clients as we give this advice to them as well too, and it's been working extremely well. So as always, hopefully you guys are having a great month. If you guys have any questions at all, feel free to shoot me a DM. You can also comment in the section below and drop any comments, questions, or concerns you guys may have. I'd love to hear your guys' feedback. And as always, guys, get out there, crush it. Have a great day.